Rapper Travis Scott and other organizers of the music festival called Astroworld are facing several lawsuits after Friday's deadly concert. 8 people were killed and dozens injured after a crowd surge at the Houston festival. 2 Naperville natives were among those killed. In a statement on Twitter, Scott says he is, quote, absolutely devastated. He has since vowed to pay for the funeral expenses of those killed. In 2015, the rapper was arrested in Chicago during his show at Lollapalooza for encouraging fans to jump the barricades. And joining us to discuss the deadly festival is Lucio Vasquez, a digital reporter at Houston Public Media. Lucio Vasquez, thanks for being here with us on Chicago Tonight. So, 8 people reported dead, dozens more injured, treated for injuries at the hospital. Do we know what those 8 officially died of?
Yeah, so the official deaths have not been released yet. We do know the autopsies were conducted today, but again, we don't have those findings. Again, what we do know, basic preliminary information from this criminal investigation that just started from the Houston Police Department here, that we do know that around 9 o'clock, the surge started as Travis Scott began to perform, and that people were compressed among thousands and thousands of people, and it made it incredibly hard for people to breathe, and this resulted in a lot of them passing out, and et cetera, et cetera.
And from the concert goers you talked to, what were their recollections of that entire experience, including what the rapper Travis Scott said on stage?
Yeah, so I spoke to a lot of them earlier today near the stadium in which the event took place, and they were going back to remember and remembrance of the people who had passed away, and they were all visibly shaken by such a tragic event. I remember one specific person, a 36-year-old woman. She attended the concert with her 16-year-old niece, and she told me that they got separated as the crowd started to surge, and all she could remember is not being able to breathe and hearing the screams of her niece calling out for her. And so, again, a lot of these people are very visibly shaken, and it should have been a fun event, and it turned into something obviously not so fun.
Scary moment. So we mentioned at the top that Scott was arrested. Well, he wasn't arrested, but there was at Lollapalooza, there were problems of him encouraging moshing and people kind of acting rowdy. He has a history of this. He was arrested in Arkansas. For our viewers, can you just tell us a little bit more about who Travis Scott is and sort of the controversy that follows him?
Yeah, so he's a Houston rapper, Travis Scott. He has made, songs such as Sicko Mode with Drake and whatnot. And over the past few years, he's had Astroworld, a festival here in Houston that has drawn a lot of people to the city, and it's been a point of celebration, but it's also been a point of controversy. I believe in 2019, we had gates being broken as people basically stormed the gates as if it was a castle. Unfortunately, this year was much, much worse.
And as you mentioned, the Houston PD has opened a criminal investigation. What might that investigation entail?
Well, hopefully it'll entail a lot, because at this point, we don't really know a whole lot as to what happened during those 40 minutes in which Travis Scott continued to play after a mass casualty event was declared. We don't exactly know what happened to start the event, or even if there was a concrete motive, right? And we also have a report of a security worker who was allegedly nicked in the neck with a needle. Not entirely sure what that needle contained, but that worker was revived using Narcan, which is a drug used to treat overdose.
Isn't that also part of what happened here, that there were multiple reports of drugs, intravenous stabbings of drugs? Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So I personally have only heard the one report of the stabbing with the needle, and that came from HPD Chief Troy Finner himself. But I have, again, spoken with a lot of people, and through firsthand accounts, people have told me that they saw a lot of drug use, and one specific person I spoke to saw a bag of cocaine apparently just being tossed around. So again, these are all speculation, and it's hard to verify these things based on firsthand accounts, but we're going to hope that that investigation really clears things up.
And there's already lawsuits that have been filed in relation to the incident. What do these lawsuits entail?
Yeah, there's at least 15 as of right now, and I think it's safe to assume that that number is probably going to increase as the week goes on. They're all against Live Nation, concert organizers in general. Some even named Travis Scott as a defendant. They're all saying that the concert organizers and Scott himself are negligent in the way they organize the concert, and they're all asking for $1 million each.
And that Live Nation, is there any evidence that their security protocols weren't up to industry standard, or is that something that the Houston PD is going to investigate?
Again, another thing that's part of that investigation. Officials here are going to be looking at this emergency plan that the concert or the festival in general had to submit before opening up. And they're going to look at whether that plan was sufficient or even followed after the mass casualty event was triggered.
All right, I know a lot of concerns about these big festivals, these big concert events like Lollapalooza in Chicago, and it happened all over the nation. Tragic event late last week. Our thanks to Lucio Vasquez. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.